So he's just a little bundle of love. You know, if I were to use any adjective for him, it's just he is love in human form. It's so easy to love and be loved by him.
We call him our magic man because there's a quiet and a stillness about him that is just so overwhelmingly beautiful. You could be having like a hard day at work, and no matter what, when you come and pick him up, he just melts in your hands and all your troubles wash away.
You know, the pregnancy was great, the birth was great, and those were the two questions that kept on being reiterated to us by panels of doctors that I can't even list how many it was. We just knew at 4 months that he wasn't hitting milestones, and so that was the red flag that kind of started the whole process. And they first referred us to ophthalmology because they thought maybe if he's visually impaired it would explain it all, and they said no, his eyes are perfect, nothing here. And then neurology was the next one, and that one was a really tough pill to swallow because that's the last one you want to hear as a parent of a newborn. They did an MRI, and then that's when they discovered that there was missing white matter in his brain, but they still didn't know the cause. They did multiple genetic panels, nothing was coming back. Then a secondary panel of genetic testing came back from Stanford, and that's where they found that it was Aicardi-Goutieres syndrome, which we had never heard, and this rare form of leukodystrophy, and it shattered our world. And then all of a sudden it went from like me being afraid that he might be autistic to, oh no, this is actually significantly more severe. And asking the doctors, I'll never forget, Wilson and I were really obsessed with, like, will he walk and will he talk? Like, those are the two questions, like, will he walk and will he talk? And it was a resounding no. Wilson and I at that point realized, like, we really want our oldest son to have a sibling to shoulder this with. And so we decided to grow our family really quickly, even though we were in this kind of anticipatory grief cycle. And so now we have our third son, pretty much because of Santi. So he brought more love into our family just by design. She just came to me one day and she said, guess what? I think that we've been selected for Make-A-Wish for Santi in Maine. And I said, what? That's incredible. What does that even mean? And she said, well, they're gonna grant him a wish. And I was just like taken back because it was huge and grandiose and overwhelming, the thought of somebody wanting to do something special for our family. Nobody chooses this, you know, nobody chooses to be a Make-A-Wish family. But when you become one, you access a level of community that the rest of the world doesn't get to see. You know, it's so beautiful and inclusive in a way that other spaces don't have that level of inclusivity. It doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter, you know, your political standpoint. It just matters that, you know, there is a child that needs love and support and people to help and families that also need that support, and the way that it all comes together is incredible. To think about something for Santi, because we have the two other kids, we're constantly thinking, well, it's Valentine's Day or it's Christmas, we're hooking them up in all these different ways, buying all these different gifts, and Santi sometimes gets the shaft in that sense because he can't enjoy all the things that normal kids can. So it was fun to sit and brainstorm what would change Santi's life for the better. We landed on the fact that he's a water baby, and he was born in Florida, and we lived in Florida before we came to Maine. And one of the hard parts about being in Maine is like the water's really cold. You don't have access to warm, enjoyable water. And so we landed on having a hot tub for him because he loves being in the water. Being able to see him in this space where the water is just giving him that sense of relaxation, which I feel like he doesn't have natural access to, is amazing. Anything that we can give him to help make him happy just naturally or organically is fantastic. And water is that tool. It was just incredible to see the spread and the layout of the food and everybody there to gather around to cheer for Santi, because not a lot of people cheer for Santi besides Savannah and I and the boys. So to have another group of outside people that don't know us at all come in and just say, we want to do something special for this kiddo, and you know, that was really, really amazing. Anything that I can provide to bring him joy is my life's goal. And seeing him the first time in the hot tub with the people that he loves the most was amazing, because it brought full circle that we made the right decision, and it was okay to ask for help.
It's so hard to raise a handicapped child because you feel like you're on an island, and the emotions are way different than anything else you're going to traverse through life. So having Make-A-Wish come in and sort of, spread light and bring joy to this kid's life and ours in return is just incredible. There's no other feeling like it, because you finally feel like, somebody gets us, somebody hears us, somebody's there for us, and they're cheering for us.
Nobody since our diagnosis has made us feel like that. Even doctors that have really held our hand through the process, it's a singular exchange with them, whereas this included the whole family, because the whole family is affected by this.
Life is precious, life is fragile, and it's fleeting. And my favorite moments are just like when I can grab him and walk outside and, like I said, just sit in the hammock and swing with him and look into his eyes, and we don't have to say anything, but the world is right and everything is perfect in that moment.